Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, I want to talk about the NBA Hall of Fame inductees because there was a couple of good names in here that I wanted to give some congratulations to. Um, a bunch of guys, to be honest with you, that I've rooted against. That's how I know they were very good at what they did. Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh, Chris Webber, Ben Wallace, Tony Kukoc, just to name a few, those were the players that came to mind first that stood out and that I got a chance to watch. But I'm also aware of Lauren Jackson as well, fantastic player in the WNBA, one of the great centers in NBA history. And Yolanda Griffin, I'm familiar with as well. So Rick Adelman, Coach Adelman, got in the Hall of Fame as well. Bill Russell as a coach, of course, he's been there as a player for a long time, but as a coach, he is now a Hall of Famer. Bob Dandridge, Cotton Fitzsimmons, Fats Jenkins, Pearl Moore, Val Ackerman, Howard Garfinkel, and Jay Wright. That rounds out the list of names of individuals who made the Hall of Fame this year. They were inducted today, had their speeches, did the whole thing. I haven't had a chance to see any of the highlights from anything or watched Hall of Fame as of yet. But I will definitely give it a look and see what everyone has to say and just take in the great day. I really like watching all of that kind of stuff, man. Just seeing players get drafted, seeing them go through their careers, and then ultimately get to the Hall of Fame. You know, that's ultimately what it's about. And not everybody can do it. Only the greats are able to, and it's a special chosen few that are able to display themselves and their talents in such a way and achieve as much as to put themselves in eligibility for the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to everybody that went in there, especially the ops, as I like to say, the guys that I rooted against very much. Guys like Paul Pierce and Chris Bosh, Chris Webber, Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace took a championship from us, right? As a Laker fan, it gave us some tough days. Um, Ben Wallace, Chris Webber, as we know from Sacramento Kings days. Paul Pierce, we know he took a championship from us, of course, and we got him back. And Chris Bosh, who was part of that Heat team, that even though we have LeBron James now, everybody knows LA Laker fans were not fans of that team. In fact, we looked at them as our enemies for some reason. I think it was basically media made. But I was a kid back then, so I was kind of buying into that nonsense. At any rate, these were fantastic players, man. When I think back on Chris Webber and how he was able to pass the rock from his position, kind of show people with Vlade Divac as well, that they could really facilitate from that position. It was one of the first guys that I was able to see consistently make plays for others in those positions and from those positions, and it was something that taught me the game, taught me what the game is supposed to look like properly. When you see teams like San Antonio and Sacramento back in the day, they really formed my understanding of team basketball. So I got to give Chris Webber all the credit in the world for just being an excellent basketball player. Getting to Sacramento, he didn't want to be there. We know that, but he made the best of it, and Sacramento made some good moves, including bringing him in. So he wasn't coming to the same type of situation. He was coming to a team that was brand new, revamped, and full of talent. And they took us as far as they could take us, and some would say we took it from them. Some controversy, of course, with the officiating in 2001. It was 01. But all in all, the Lakers were able to get the victory, and Chris Webber gave it his all, man. He definitely did. No one would take anything from him. Okay. So, yeah, man, Ben Wallace. I want to talk about Ben Wallace as well. Ben Wallace was a ferocious defensive presence and rebounding presence. His afro, you know what I mean? He just seemed to be an imposing figure. And although he only stood, if I'm not mistaken, 6'8", 6'9", that fro made him about 6'11", 7 feet. And he was able to use his incredible length and intelligence and timing to just basically swat everything that came his way. And he spearheaded the best defense, maybe of the generation, to be honest with you, in that Detroit Pistons championship team. I mean, they collectively, as a group, should be in the Hall of Fame, if you ask me. All 5 of those starting players should be in there. And, they have Ben Wallace in there for sure. I think it's a good chance they all do make it too. Maybe not right away, but I'd love to see it happen. So, yeah, congratulations to Big Ben, man. And of course, Chris Bosh, man. Wow, I would have loved to see his career continue. I think, honestly, he'd probably still be in the league if he didn't have the blood clotting issues and all of that, man. Just a phenomenal mid-range specialist, defensive presence, basketball mind, NBA champion, perennial all-star, especially with Toronto when he didn't have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade to share the ball with. He would put up big-time numbers. And, Chris Bosh, young Chris Bosh was no joke. So it's not even a question of whether or not he deserves to be here. He earned his way in there rather quickly. As soon as he got to Miami and won basically that second championship, we knew this day was coming. So congratulations to Chris Bosh. Yeah, man. And Paul Pierce. What can I say? I mean, Paul Pierce. Either you love him or hate him. But I'll tell you, I live where he's from, in Inglewood, California, and he's definitely a legend here. Too bad he wasn't able to play his entire career on this side where he grew up and enjoyed. Instead, he grew up a Celtic, or rather played his career with the Celtics and earned his way into the Hall of Fame with them. He's one of those stories where a guy stays in a bad situation for a very long time, and then one day it just turns around. Sort of like Devin Booker's season last year, but only, of course, Paul Pierce, was able to win the championship, and it had to be a dream come true because, you get to a point where you play so many years and you put up so many numbers and you do comebacks in the playoffs and do all kinds of great things, but it doesn't translate to success. And you start looking around, it's like, well, how much better can I push us? You see certain players in the league going through that today. Paul Pierce went through that quite a bit in Boston. But a couple things went their way. They got Rondo in there. They were able to swing a trade for Kevin Garnett, swing a trade for Ray Allen, and the rest is history. And they gave my Lakers fits, took a championship from us. We're still kind of sore about that. But, of course, we were able to get them back as well in 2010. So, you got to give Paul Pierce credit. Even after he left Boston, he still had some meaningful basketball. Even I remember in Washington, him hitting a huge shot in the playoffs and having to weather a good season with them, and even had some good years with the Clippers and the Nets as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, you got to give Paul Pierce credit. You got to give all these players credit. They earned their way here. There's no question about all of them, in my opinion. I think about a guy like Tony Kukoc as well, who came into the league. Obviously, we learned a lot about his story through the documentary that came out earlier in the year surrounding the Bulls and Michael Jordan. But I'll tell you, man, he turned himself into somebody that they all had to respect at the end of the day. Tony Kukoc hit some big shots in the playoffs that helped them win quite a few championships. I do not know exactly how many championships he was involved in, probably 3 or 4. But I do remember him being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks and how sad that was, seeing that team fall apart in a matter of a couple of weeks, it seemed like. As soon as they won the championship, basically they were dismantled after the parade. It was crazy, but that was the end of an era, and he was one of those great players of one of the greatest, if not the greatest basketball team ever assembled in those Chicago Bulls. And, you just got to give credit. What can I say, man? He earned his way. So, yeah, congratulations once again to all the inductees. I don't know a whole lot about some of these other names, so I'm not going to sit up here and pretend. But congratulations to all of them. And I look forward to seeing who's going to make it next year. I know Ginobili was one of the names I saw that could be eligible. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure it's going to be a great crop of names. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.